In this grand game of global poker, the United States has just thrown its cards on the table, albeit temporarily perhaps, by freezing military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine. And Washington, under Trump and the gerbil, has decided that Kyiv needs to be nudged, perhaps shoved towards negotiations with Russia and further exposed. I think 8 people died yesterday in Russian attacks on civilian targets across Ukraine. And as if to reinforce this shift and push Ukraine into these negotiations with Russia, on February the 28th, there was this rather undiplomatic display in the Oval Office, the staged moment with Trump and Vance publicly lambasting President Zelensky. And now into this void steps France with President Macron and Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu, demonstrating that, contrary to historical stereotypes, France is not in the habit of retreating. Lecornu has confirmed that Paris is actively providing military intelligence to Ukraine and accelerating the delivery of aid packages to offset the shortfall left by Washington's sudden strategic cold shoulder. This is more than just an altruistic gesture, it's a declaration of France's strategic independence. And Macron has long hinted at the need for Europe to stand on its own feet militarily, whether through strategic autonomy or his once controversial call for a European army. And now France is seizing the opportunity to prove that it is more than just an elegant bystander on the world stage. The crucial question now is, will Britain follow suit? After all, the UK has been one of Ukraine's staunchest supporters since 2022, leading the charge on early weapons deliveries, training Ukrainian forces, and rallying NATO allies. But there's a catch. Reports suggest that Washington may have banned its partners, Britain including, from sharing US-obtained intelligence with Ukraine. If true, this means London's hands may be partially tied, forcing Britain into an awkward diplomatic balancing act between its long-standing allegiance to Washington, its moral and strategic commitment to Ukraine. Let's be clear, Ukraine's ability to defend itself hinges not just on weapons, but on intelligence, real-time satellite data, intercepting Russian military communications and targeting information. The US freezing such assistance places Ukraine at greater risk, not just on the battlefield, but in detecting aerial strikes against its cities. France stepping up, therefore, is not just commendable, but essential. At stake here is more than just military strategy, it's the credibility of Europe's collective security. If Washington's hesitations continue, if we are so dependent on such an arse as Trump, and if European nations fail to bridge the gap, if our security depends on our obeisance to the Grand Emperor of Washington, then we need to reconsider what our paper commitment to alliances and allegiances actually is. Ukraine risks becoming a casualty of this political realignment. Today's meetings in Brussels must therefore do more than express concerns. They must deliver concrete commitments, and within hours, because Ukraine cannot wait longer to replace the systems on which it's depended. Lives are at stake, because Putin is certainly not going to pause in his attack on civilians simply because the intelligence sharing devices that alert the cities around Ukraine to an imminent attack are down. Putin indeed is more likely to take advantage of this. And so I trust that Britain, ever the pragmatic yet bold actor in international affairs, will find a way to ensure that Ukraine doesn't stand alone. If France can act with conviction, surely Britain, with its rich history of military leadership, can do the same. Because if the lesson of the past 2 years has taught us anything, it's that dithering only emboldens the aggressor.